Welcome to Sri and Kira Live. As our world spins seemingly out of control, we are all experiencing time speeding up, chaos shifting to a new level, and a yearning to know the greater mysteries of the universe. What does it all mean? Visionary spiritual teachers and best-selling authors Sri Ram Ka and Kira Ra explore these mysteries, offer live soul readings, and invite you to open up your mind, body, and spirit to the paradigms that are shifting. Bringing you fresh perspectives and timeless wisdom, here are Sri and Kira.
Namaste and welcome, beloved ones, to the voice of passionate action. I am wisdom teacher Sri Ram Ka.
And I am Master Lady Kira Ra. And beloved angels, hey, I know it's a big chillaxing day for a lot of you out there, but for all of you that are with us live, you are going to be glad you are. Such a big moment, such a profound experience. Yes. We are post full moon. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about this unmodified in any way photo that we have a lot to share. There is so much happening this week that literally the game within the game has appeared. And it is a moment that even saying that, how many of you just felt that, right? It's like it holds your breath. It gets you that dark or light, the intensity. So much to talk about, so much to share as well. Welcome. And Sri, I know there's a lot of people listening in everywhere, so let's get connected.
Absolutely. We hopefully are broadcasting live at official Sri and Kira's YouTube channel, at the OnenessTalkRadio.com homepage, live video there, at Facebook, OnenessTalkRadio.com, at BBSRadio.com, and I believe BBS is telestreaming us in other locations as well. And good grief, you can call us.
Yeah, I hope so. And get in there because, wow, these phone lines fill up fast.
So please write these numbers down.
Yeah, that way you can always jump in. You know?
Toll free, you'll get over to BBS Radio's call board at 888-627-6008. That's 888-627-6008. And when you call in, let the producer know if what you're looking for. Do you want a soul reading? Do you want to share something? Do you have an Ascension symptom? Just give us give us a clue.
Yeah.
And then over at Oneness Talk Radio, there is another call-in board, and that number is 517-208-1500. That's 517-208-1500, and you can listen at both call boards. You get to listen to the show while you're on hold, and then we will start taking your calls as we get rolling a little bit later.
Now, at that call board, remember, if you want to talk to Sri, if you have an Ascension symptom or you have a comment or a question about what's going on, you can press star 5 there, and that'll raise your hand, and that'll tell us that you're wanting to share that type of information as well. So, wow, a lot of information.
Well, absolutely.
Did you get all the left brain details? I'm so glad that's done.
If you got the details, you're obviously connected at one of these places, so let's stick with it.
And spread the word, would you? You know, we really are so grateful for this community, for our Sunday service, for these 2 hours of every week where we all get the opportunity to come together and remember who we are. Yeah. You know, to give yourself just that moment, just 2 hours a week is enough to make a difference, because September is the month that is saying, are you ready? Are you ready to not only make a difference, but to step into the awareness? And when we step into awareness, remember, coming out of what? Choice of August. Yeah. When we step into awareness, you become aware of everything at every level. So I want you to breathe that in. When you step into true awareness, which is the entire month of September, a month that is 365 days compressed into one, each day is 12 days of mastery experience every day. So as you're breathing into that right now, as you're feeling that right now, if the awareness through the choice of August is illuminating after this full moon, which is why this week is massive, then you are at the outer limit. And I want you to really breathe that in. I want to show it to you. And Sri, forgive me, I want to jump right into this,
Sure.
But I really want to show this because here is the up-level calendar for September. And look where we are, guys. Look at September 6th. We are at the outermost perspective. That's you. You see that beautiful in the right, that beautiful angelic presence coming in? That's you, that blue presence, but you spiral through all of this. Remember, we're always spiraling. So right now on the 6th, we are in this outer limit coming into this Wednesday very, very rapidly. Remember, 12 days per day. 6th, 12 days. 7th, 12 days. 8th, 12 days. 9th. Think about it. Another 12 days, you will be 48 days, the 12, the master, greater than you are listening to this show right now, and it's going to implode, explode in a way that right now you are in a building moment. So this is an extraordinary moment of incredible opportunity and an incredible, and I'm going to use the word, and forgive me, but I'm going to use it, guys, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous moment. And the reason it's a dangerous moment is because you are at the precipice of birthing that which you have always been. Do you feel your heart chakra? How many of you are feeling almost like you're ready to just like your entire body feels too small, right? Like you can feel it. That's what's in front of you. And because of that, everything that density has that it can use, it is using right now to stop you. And it is going to come after everything without limitation. It is not going to hold back, and it's going to be brutal, and it's going to be in front of you. And here's the gift. If you can stay right here, it will not stop you. If you can just breathe and disconnect 1 degree, one shift in a momentary dimensional experience away from it, and that's all that's needed, then you can see what it is and walk through it. And each time you see that, and each time you walk through it, the longer it takes you to acknowledge it, the stronger it's going to get, because it's having a tantrum. Remember, this is a big month of awareness, because what comes after awareness? Experience. How we experience October right now, we are being loved so much that the universe is saying, look, we're going to condense this timeline. We're going to give you a year's worth of mastery, so you don't need to be a year from now going, God, if I'd have only known now what I know then, right? That kind of thing, or that known then what I know now. Okay, we're being given that gift. Think about that. By the end of September, we will have all been given the gift of being in the position of, I really do know now what I wish I would have known then, and living that way, not waiting for it. And that is an intense energy, Sri, don't you think?
Well, it's intense, but it also explains some things that I've noticed, and I bet you a lot of you have noticed.
Yeah.
And that is that last week seems like it was a year ago.
Right? Can you barely remember it?
I mean, let alone a couple of days ago.
Or last minute.
Have you noticed that what has gone before is really behind you? It's past. And part of this is that we're moving in a whole new time stream.
Right.
And this, as Kira has brilliantly brought forward to prepare us, is that September is a month where each day is equivalent to about 12 days. The whole month is a year. So consider...
Everybody lost their breath. Breathe.
Consider that, yes, you're still here. Yes, you look pretty much the same as you did yesterday. However, the energetics, the consciousness, the way in which you process all that is happening, all of that is moving in a new way.
Yeah.
And you want to put up a big flag about what is an ascension symptom? Well, okay, you're living it right now. And it doesn't necessarily have any discomfort, although there are possibles. We'll talk about that. But what it does do is change our consciousness, our perceptual filters, and how we interact with the now.
Well, I want to share that, as you were mentioning all of this, Shri, remember that one of two of the greatest ascension symptoms for this year that Shri and I put out early in 2020, way back when, if you want to go look at the video, was that fear for the first time ever was now an ascension symptom. So if fear is an ascension symptom, I want you to really take that in. It means that whatever fear is around you is going to be modeled before you in a way that will be distorted. It will be a mirror image that will not be reflecting the truth. And that is how we reflect and stop ourselves. That is that self-sabotage. And so again, as Sri just so beautifully mentioned about the timeline, right? I want to go right here, right now. Let's talk about it. You see this full moon? So before we talk about that, let me just remind you right here, I want to show you the energy flows because we've been talking about this a lot. If you've been with us, Sri and I have been with you all since the full moon. We have been together with the WWA Global Community on the full moon. We were together on Saturday with our beautiful Mastery Mentorship team and the spontaneous Insoulment that came through and the information that's coming through. And we've been talking about this now for about a week, but I want you to look at the energy flow for this year. First and foremost, profound shift came in this year because of the dragonfly, because of the way that this energy is being literally called forward this year. Because of that first energy, we are also in the only time we have been together this way, where there is a collective energy of visionary transformation through timeline adaptation. Everyone is sliding through the timelines. As a matter of fact, you could be the most densest of the dense as far as the way your consciousness is and still be talking about, aware of, and discussing timeline adaptation. This is something that is happening at every level of consciousness. So how it is met by the level of consciousness is the most important aspect. And then there is the awakening to self-ascension, the recognition that the absolute moment where the dogma is honestly released, because unless you release the dogma, you cannot fly free. And that's where loving ourselves comes in even more. So at August, look at this. It was the end of that pink line. You see that pink double-sided arrow there? This year, 2020, opened with the most unique energy flow we have ever seen for any year, because we are in a new time beyond that which we have ever been in before. So all bets are off the tables, guys. It's a whole new world. There are no odds on this. You are creating them. And so we came in January. And then we were a singular timeline experience, meaning it's all been woven together. We went through all of these energies, right? But the end of that, let's just say, framework was August. And August was a month of choice. And like it or not, at the end of August, and this is why things started getting really intense around August 29th, between August 29th and until this past Friday, September 3rd, was the most intense crunch. And this is what we were talking about with this beautiful awakening and really helping to make the harmonies restore. You had to jump out of what you think you're doing. You had to just say, okay, and jump into your mastery to swing you around. Literally, I'm referring to this as that slingshot around the sun to come back into a different timeline, to sling you around into September, which is the first time we have had to do that, and the only time we will have to do that. And the gift of this is that by making the leap, you see that September completes the January, February, September profound shift experience, thereby also offering stability to actually have that first experience of profound shift be stable. Now, why is that such a gift? Because what were your dreams in January? How did you greet this new year? What were you putting together? What was going on for you January through February is ready to birth and stabilize right now. It's the first beautiful anchor. And because that anchor, as the pillar in this beautiful, beautiful temple is anchored, you will find great stability when you really lift and become and say yes to you. And this month, you can't lie anymore. You can't fake it. You can't pretend. You can't hide, because if you do, you will explode. Meaning that it will all come out in front of you. It will be in your face, and you will be forced to make a choice through your awareness. And so the gift in front of all right now is that once more the universe is saying, stay with us. And we're going to give you more and more visible signs. And that's what brings me back to all of this amazing energy that's happening around the full moon.
Well, yeah, we had a wondrous full moon, and we're still feeling the effects of that. Just for fun, tune into how much violet energy is in this photo.
Unretouched. And this happened twice that night.
And as we look at that energy, we begin to see the aura of transmutation, the aura of healing that is available to all beings, and that the full moon reflects back that which you project toward it. Mm-hmm. So the grandest metaphor of all is the full moon is the nighttime sun, is it not?
Right. And this was, so you guys need to know the full story. We want to give you a moment right now to kind of relax and breathe. And Shri and I are going to take you on a photo show. So this was actually the culminating photo. So I want to begin with, we had the absolute blessing of being with our beloved WWA global community the night of the full moon. It was an incredible moment of quantum time shifting. And right before we went on the air, I was sitting talking to Jess, and Shri was outside.
Yeah. And we were just about to go on air and get rolling with the ceremony, and I looked up and I felt the shift in the sky, and I took this photo. Now, what the photo shares are a few things, but the two that we want to really point out is the violet energy is there.
And this was a real profound piece of this ceremony that we were about to have. And really, I think the other thing, Shri, is that not only we were so excited about the violet, we even showed it that night.
Yeah.
And because we were so excited about it, and because we had not spent a lot of time with it, the second thing we're about to show you, which maybe some of you have already seen, and we're going to give you a moment, start looking and see if you see it, because we're not going to say anything, we're just going to show you. But look around, notice what you're noticing, all right? Because we did not see what was there when Shri was compelled to take this picture until after the second picture, when we went back and looked at this one again. So you ready? All right, you guys, here it is. You're looking at this one. Now, maybe you've seen it already and maybe you haven't, but do you see what happened right as Shri was compelled? We were blown away. And if you don't see it right here, how about there, right between the going down the Compadres Mountain, looks like a V between our roof and the mountain, you see the cigar ship.
Yeah.
And then you see, of course, also this very obscured cloud type ship here as well. And imagine, we were blown away when we started really connecting with this.
You know, and like many things, sometimes we're exposed to an energy without fully understanding what it is or the significance of it. And certainly something called me to take the picture. And now it's post-event, and we're realizing that there was more going on.
That there was a lot going on, because Shri was literally compelled. I mean, literally, we were going on the air. We had actually started the ceremony while you were putting up the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally when we got together with the WWA global community. I mean, and that this like armada showed up.
Well, and one of the things that's come into our recognition is that the cosmic visitors are on a cycle of making themselves more visible and more known now.
Right.
You know, and we are at a moment of convergence, unlike prior times.
Exactly. I think, Shri, that's why the violet was here. I think that was their calling card, because the whole reason we were so struck by this was the violet.
Yeah, true. And so it was a wonderful, this was just a couple of days ago on the full moon.
Yeah, that was the second, September 2nd.
And our backdrop is the photo taken
just after
WWA Global ceremony.
Yeah.
And hey, if you don't know what WWA Global is, go to wwaglobal.com.
Be part of the WWA Global community. Oh, please.
Yeah, it stands for Women, Wellness, and Awakenings, and that stands for all humanity.
Exactly.
That is the invitation to stand up and accept who you are and make a difference through your authenticity.
Which is why we all held this mentoring moment on the full moon, because remember, I'm going to show you the Ascended Numerology again, and then I want to show you another fabulous couple photos. The reason I want to show you the Ascended Numerology is because when you gaze at the date, down in the corner, September 2nd, 2020 was the full moon of the 8th. That is what brought the balance in for all humanity. Remember that we have so much infinite energy all over this Ascended Numerology. No matter what, if you just stare at the wheel, all you keep doing is going in and out of that. It's just a constant bouncing and bouncing. It's like being on a trampoline and going, I don't know what to do. And every time I bounce up and I hit bliss, I come back down somewhere else. I don't know what to do. I'm going back up. It's been like a yo-yo, or whatever, however, bouncing on a trampoline. But the 8, and this is the first of 2, which is even more magnificent, came in and offered stability between the 4, the 6, and the 10. So now you have that 4, 6, 8, 10 with that beautiful infinite presence forming what I was explaining to the Mastery Mentorship team, the swing that then returns to balance. In other words, imagine if that line between the 4 and the 10, imagine if you took it and you put the 4 up where the 3 is and the 10 down where the 9 is. Then you would have perfect balance, would you not? And so sometimes you have to swing one direction to be able to come back to the balance. And that is what this month is doing. It is showing everyone that just because there might be a swing, it's because you're ready for the balance. And to be careful of that swing. But yet that swing didn't have support, which meant it could have been like being on really rough seas. And that's why that beautiful full moon came in and said, no, we're going to hold this. It's going to be okay. And then we're going to send reinforcements when the pre-retrograde phase of Mercury begins on the 23rd. I mean, there's so much extraordinary, like bona fide, this is so beautiful. We know what's happening. Don't be afraid. Support.
Yeah. Well, and the beauty of looking at this chart is we begin to understand that the energies affecting the month keep touching into the infinite.
Right. Exactly.
And so that's that kind of trampoline effect.
Right.
And there's that whoa, that
where
pulsing,
am I,
that movement.
right? Who am I?
And it comes right into the body down at the root chakra of your core beingness. And so think about the blessing of being asked to define yourself fully as a spiritual being.
Yeah, let's put up that chart again so you can see right there that we have not only the first chakra and the second chakra together, which is really profound.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we are at that time where I hate to say it this way again,
But he will.
Make the commitment. Either get into the game of density.
Oh, no, say it. Don't hate to say that. I say it. Make the freaking commitment. Do it or not.
Quit pretending that you're something other than you are. Either go for enlightenment, go for self-realization, and recognize that there will be friction, or get into the density game and recognize there will be friction, and there will be an experience both ways.
But here's why. Because you choose your joy. In which experience that, and when you make the choice, you live in joy because you're not pulling yourself apart. You're not pretending you're somebody you're not. Imagine how much more successful, anchored, inspired, creative, limitless energy. Imagine how much more you could have if you had zero energy holding you back.
If you weren't of two voices or two minds.
Exactly. That's really the key, isn't it? I mean, that's why Sri and I are doing the mentorship.
Here's where it comes full circle.
Yeah.
One of the things Archangel Zadkiel shared with us early on was about the joy portal.
Powerful, Sri.
That no matter what level of consciousness you're at, no matter what you think is real, what belief system is driving you, if you pay attention to the joy that you experience, and it's depicted as a kind of a golden elevator that goes through all the levels of consciousness. If you follow your bliss, if you follow your joy, even if you are holding on to the densest of the density, you will be in alignment to evolve as fast as you are able. This is the thing. And when you touch into your joy, even though you made a commitment to get in and play the game and play by the rules, your joy may lift you right out of that over a period of time. It may lift you into spiritual activism, where all of a sudden you're looking at the condition of the world and the creatures of the world and wanting to help shift it. It may lift you beyond activism into ascension awareness, which is that place where we become more detached, more transcendent. We are not living in the world as much as we're living in the oneness that is exhibited through the world. And of course, that joy then leads us up to full ascension consciousness, which is a state of realization that brings great bliss. And look how big the joy gets.
Well, and that's why, the key is that you can really ascend at any moment.
Yes.
The key is, it's about the invitation of self to relax, number one, the judgment.
Yes.
Right? There are 4 steps in the yoga of self-ascension. And the one thing that Archangel Zadkiel has always shared is that these 4 steps will never stop. Regardless of where you are in that infinite spiral of ascended presence, they will always repeat. It's just the way that you repeat them and how they shift, and they do. They really, really do. And one of those steps is that releasing of that judgment, that okay, I am here, I am ready, I am open, guide me. And the reason I want to stop with that right now is because I want to share this, because it is one of those moments. And when we gaze at what happened right after the full moon, Shri and I had just finished, and for those of you that saw that beautiful cigar UFO friend that was there with us, and the cloud ship that was coming in, and all the violet energy, when we came out, we were compelled to take this, we both looked up and went, oh, we need to capture that. Well, we really didn't even see how much was here until after it was taken.
Well, and if you take a look at the cloud there just above the moon, above to the side, it becomes clear that it is a spiral portal energy.
Yeah, really gaze at that.
Look at how it's spiraling. Now, of course, in nighttime photography, you can just begin to get the spiral, the indentations that show the vortex of energy. And
there was even more, right? And so what Shri did was said, okay, let's show this to you really close up. Check this out. So now, not only the spiral, and you see what looks very much to us like a naga head, right? Yeah. Right after this full moon ignition, but look at the rest of the composition of this. And again, guys, we went outside on his iPhone, took the picture, said, wow, that's really great. And then it was after we really sat with this picture that we then went back and saw the first picture.
Which, once again, as we mentioned earlier, sometimes we have our impressions, our experiences.
Do you want me to show that one again?
That's okay.
All right, so again, just so we can put them close. So here's the one that was then right before. You can see not quite as dark in the sky yet.
No, this was about 2 hours earlier.
Right, this was right before the WWA Global Full Moon Ceremony. And then this was right after. I mean, how amazing is that, Shri?
And it also reminds me how the energies that you could call in nature, however, this is beyond nature in a traditional sense, energies are using all available palettes of form to express. So the palette of the clouds is now more clearly expressing energies, beings, symbolic and actual. The energy of rocks and leaves and ripples on the lakes are showing more reflections. Really what this is confirming for us is that we are coming ever closer to that reunion of spirit as form, and form desiring spirit.
Well, and it is such a big moment for that. And, one of the things that has become very evident through all of this intense energy, through everything that's happening, through the moment of the moment where we are right now, is that interference energy is showing up on the strings of ego.
Yes.
And so we have put out, again, a beautiful article by Archangel Zadkiel that really offers a discernment around that. Because right now, the gift among so many, but especially this week, this is a week about spiritual discernment in the energy of awareness. Imagine that. Being offered the gift of really being able to say yes to yet another moment of mastery, knowing, and I'm just going to pop up real quick again, that September calendar, knowing that you are at the outer reaches right now, spiraling in toward the center, and that by Wednesday, all of the energy of right now is going to be coming into that illuminated moment where it will implode and send out these rays of illumination. And you are flying in on those. This is a magnificent week. It is a week of incredible mastery through awareness. And I want to just close with the quote by Zadkiel at the top there, to remember, free your mind now and invite yourself to fly and to soar. The borderlands of sanity are around us all. Yeah. And the question is, are those borderlands causing you to be angry because you're seeing things and you're outraged by things that you've never seen or experienced before? Or is it taking you to a moment where you're saying, I know if I go beyond here, like it's the Truman Show, right? I know if I take this boat to this horizon, there's a door. Yeah. And I know there's something on the other side, and that if I have found the door, then obviously I'm ready to open it.
You know, I want to tongue-in-cheek just say sanity's not all it's cracked up to be.
Well, density sanity or ascended sanity, right? I'm with you.
Because for most of us have adopted a sense of what's normal based upon how we were told to conform.
Yeah.
So let that one in. We grow up thinking normal is being in the zone of conformity. Mm-hmm. In fact, normal is where you find your peace. Normal is where you are lined up with your authentic energy, your soul, your joy, your reason for being here. That's your normal. And so what we've commonly talked about is density sanity versus ascended sanity, or not versus as much as a juxtaposition. When we're anchored in density, what is considered normal must be that which does not challenge the boundaries of density.
Groupthink.
So the groupthink, the partners in pain, the things that will keep the friction and the fusion and the Velcro going, that's normal. That's normal. And on the other hand, we have ascended sanity, which is a transcendent way of looking beyond the individual content and seeing the very fabric that allows us to be unique, to see that we are all foundationalized by an infinite, universal energy, and that divine energy is the underpinning of all expressions, all races, all genders, all expressions, period. It's there. And when we begin to, let's just say, get better acquainted with it, when we begin to allow that recognition to deepen in our consciousness, what we value will naturally shift. How we behave will naturally evolve. And now all of a sudden we're involving a new normal. And ascended sanity as opposed to density sanity becomes quite clear. Yeah. And that frequency is then our guide rather than an irritant.
Well, breathe that in. I mean, why don't you say that again?
I can.
All right.
Frequency can be your guide rather than an irritant. To the egoic mind, anything that challenges the status quo is seen as either scary or irritating. And I know you can relate to that from the emotional level. If someone bullies you or challenges you, it's irritating, right? It can be fearful. However, from a spiritual level, the ego still has the same response mechanisms that it uses at the emotional level, only now it's responding to spiritual energies with the same defensiveness that seeks to preserve its dominion, its status quo. And so that's the spiritual game. That's what we all get to confront. Nobody gets an easy way out. We all have an ego. We all have our journey, and that our passing, our walk through this egoic filter requires steadfast commitment. It requires focused awareness, and it requires complete trust in the divine within and within all.
Guide me.
And when we begin to recognize that your life is your spiritual path, that everything you do is contributing to your wisdom, your evolutionary process, the expansion of love, the expansion of service, then life is joy, is it not?
Yes.
And so, we go through the process of arriving at the essence of what is so, but then we still get to keep walking. We still get to have stuff come up, only it gets easier because we have a foundation in spiritual truth that we know is our essence. And that makes the journey and form a whole lot easier.
Well, breathe that in because it really does. And it's really about releasing the ego, is it not? And this is something to pay attention to right now because I do want to go back to this unification energy that right now we are all seeing a moment. In our first book, Sacred Union, The Journey Home, Sri Ramka discussed the vision that he had been shown of literally two Earths being formed. And at one point, they were unable to stay together anymore. And literally it was like one was sealed and sent on its own way and the other lifted. We are all in unification energy. And we are at the moment where you see at the bottom there where it says divine consciousness, that infinite presence of divine essence, expands. It's out, right? Pulling that rubber band, pulling it. We're into density. We've turned the corner and we're now on reunification. We're on that in-breath, reunifying. However, as we reunify, the energy, the harmonic energy, the dimensions, rather than folding into themselves, rather than having this lift, what you're seeing is that the fourth has instead collapsed. And so how and when the fourth collapsed was when all of this started. And if you go way back when Sri and I first started talking and publishing about the fourth, the collapse of the fourth dimension and what that was going to mean, it's there it is. I mean, you can watch it over the past 10 years since we first started talking about it. And it's important to remember this right now because the intensity, we don't have that graphic, do we? The one that I just made that had the chalice on it.
I think I find it.
The intensity right now, the harmonic frequency, I want to try and describe this as easily as I can because it's really important because it affects everything. It's why physical bodies are the way they are. It's why so much is happening.
Okay.
It was the one that had the chalice overlaid on it.
Yeah, let me find it.
What's happened is that the harmony, the circle, is there, but the framework is very, very fragile because the framework itself is kept alive by, I'm going to call it the heartbeat of the universe, by this harmonic frequency. And it's very much its own energy pulsation. That's it. And my husband just found the graphic. We're going to show it to you.
All right, I'm going to drag it on screen when you're ready.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Ready.
Here we go.
All right.
So,
okay, there it is. Just,
I'll cover me and you talk about it.
Honey.
There we go.
All right, well, all right. So you could cover us both if you want. But, okay, so what you're seeing right here is in the center where there is the Ascension awareness. This is the Pyramid of Spiritual Awakening as all of this is being shown to me right now. So I've been creating these based upon the visions they've been showing me. And you see that big wide swing at the bottom there? That is the energy of density consciousness. That is that pendulum. So that's where everything's swinging. Remember I mentioned about September is like a pendulum going up and down? Well, when you look above that wide circle there is spiritual activism. And that is in the center of where the harmonics are being compressed. And you see all those concentric circles coming out. You see how thin they are? Well, that light that is really doing its best to help us, and we are making a difference. It is getting bigger again. That is being compressed so far that we are so close to literally, the only word I'm hearing is cementing, a shift that will literally say, you're either here or you're here. And that moment is a moment where there is a shift in everything. And that is a very incredible moment. And that moment is upon all of us to make clear choices about what our future is looking like. And when you gaze at this right now, and I lose my breath talking about it, and were you able to do that? I noticed Sri was trying to give us he did it.
Zooming in a little bit.
All right, are we seeing this right now?
Yeah.
Is this live?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you can see that my husband did a zoom there. And you see in the center, if you can look straight in, there's that like golden,
get the other one out of
right?
There. Okay.
Okay, so are they seeing the pointer thingy?
Yeah, I don't know if they can see our
Okay,
mouse.
so, all right. What I'm wanting you to see is go up to Ascension consciousness at the very top where
That's
you see
where all
that
the brilliant
eruption,
light is,
right?
yeah.
Where you see all that coming out. Within that is the center of the seed of all creation. And this is why we are all, no matter, I always say, no matter how crazy you think you sound, no matter who's saying what, if you know it's truth, this is the time to finally say it. Thank you, Shri. That's beautiful. So here we are. This is a close-up of the center of all of it. And at the Ascension consciousness level, that seal, you see that kind of orangey violet? That is your fifth, seventh dimensional consciousness, which is the seal that's holding in. You see that beautiful golden energy coming up out of there? That's the top of the chalice. The universal energy is showering you with more inspiration, more incredible guidance than you have ever received, but it's sitting in your ascension consciousness, which is your fifth and seventh dimensional self. Now, here's what's so beautiful. Shri talked about the joy portal. The joy portal's right here. Take your eyes all the way down to where it says density consciousness, and you see coming out of that are like these golden pyramids facing down. Well, if you look at that energy, you'll notice there's the handle of the chalice going straight up. It's the joy portal, and the joy portal is currently being constricted in spiritual activism, which is pulling the natural harmonic frequency of the planet into fear and anger, thereby choking us off at our very center. And so I want you to breathe that in, because this is such an amazing moment for us all. September is saying, hey, guess what? It's as easy as saying yes to you. Yeah. All is not lost. We're all here. And all of the, let's just say, otherworldly limits the truth of what we're going to be experiencing. The other dimensional experiences are yours to experience with a physical body. You can get as high as peak in the seventh with this body. Living in the seventh with this body takes some extreme measures, which Shri and I have been living, and it works, but you can't do it without some extreme shifts. Yep. And the ninth is similarly fascinating. So this is a moment where if you are able to be the seal, your fifth and seventh dimensional self. This is why Shri and I don't know that we've ever spent more hours a day of service than we ever have in our lives. I mean, it seems with every day it's more and more hours. It's that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, we're delighted to be able to share this with you, and we trust that the impressions are making some sense. It's beautiful to have a model, because the model does two things. One is it helps the mind come along on the journey.
Yeah.
And one of the pitfalls, one of the spiritual traps that's upon everyone is the role of the mind in your journey. Because the mind is either your servant or your impediment. But most people don't realize how the mind interferes until you really look at it. And the way it interferes is you use it to validate rather than to serve. Let's go a little further.
Powerful, Shri, powerful.
If I am having an experience or am making a choice, I go to my mind and say, is that a good choice? Bring up all the data. Show me
my partner in pain.
Show me what's what, and then I'll make my choice. So I'm relying on the mind to master me.
Your back, right? Your mind's got your back.
Now, for people lifting through density, especially people whose intelligence brought them into being studious and mental to some degree, I can identify with that. We came to rely on our minds because it gave us an edge, it gave us an advantage. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the spiritual journey, the mind will be your grandest interference.
It will.
If you rely on it to determine what the meaning of an experience is, a filter, to determine your choices. So using the mind to validate your experiences means I'm always going to be referencing an old paradigm. That's how the mind validates. There's no room for the new. Using the mind to help you make choices once you give it an instruction is a whole different thing. If I say, I choose to live a more spiritual life and I'm needing to make some new choices, the mind can help you have the garage sale. Of what needs to go. You can put it to service. So that it comes back to also the spiritual trap of dogma. Mm-hmm. Dogma are laws or reality forms that are used to organize your experience. Now, at one level, they organize what's permitted and what's not, and they keep people behaving nicely with each other, and that can be a good thing. On another level, they limit your expansion. They limit your direct connection. And so, like so many things in life, they can be very useful, and then at a certain point, they need to be released.
And they're meant to be fluid, right? Dogmas are actually fluid, right? They're never meant to be forever. You have enough history in whatever version of history appeals to you to, no, seriously, because it doesn't matter, because it proves the universal point that in whatever experience is your experience, you will have had enough experience of that to notice how dogmas change. What is dogma today has not always been the dogma. The dogma is constantly changing. The dogma is constantly shifting. And so, of course it is. So is this constant experience of form. So, of course, if you're going to keep inserting in the same timeline, the dogmas are going to keep shifting because that's the game. That's the game within the game. That's what's coming forward right now. Remember this week, the game within the game is coming forward. It's hitting everyone at the deepest level of dogmatic beliefs, even the ones you still carry that you did not think were triggered by dogmatic overlay.
Yes.
This is the week where the groupthink is going to be large and lofty, and where there will be a moment within yourself where your own groupthink is going to be large and lofty because you are ready. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, diving in Wednesday. What energy do you want to bring in? That's what's so important right now. We have an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going dancing. And I did. I was in the ballet studio for an hour before we went on the air today. Go say yes to you. Claim who you really are. And do it through your sincerity and your love and your presence, because that's the miracle ignition. And then hold on to your steadfast commitment. Be the focused awareness and witness as you are. Complete trust.
Yeah.
That's the moment at hand. And it's also going to involve a lot of breath.
It involves a lot of breath.
Boy, is there going to be a lot of going after that breath, guys.
Breath is how we stay fluid.
Exactly.
And connected to prana, to
Right?
energy. When we hold our breath, we start to constrict energy. We get rigid in our body, tense in our neck, tense in the low back, et cetera, et cetera. And so one of the things that comes forward is the recognition that truth and the path of self-ascension is grounded in your authenticity, which
Naked authenticity.
which is your truth.
Yep.
It doesn't require that you conform to anything. What it asks you is to be that which you are. Mm-hmm. And to do that requires that we must bump through some old conventions and old habits, because that which we think we are is normally grounded in an egoic filter that is rooted in fear and separation.
Yeah.
That which is eternal and essential within you does not have that mortality or that fear.
Breathe that in.
So herein lies the opportunity. As we move from a purely egoic way of being, we discover activism as a way to allow our hearts to express through the ego into action in the world. And what happens is our heart expands to want to protect or do something that we perceive as valuable, but it's operating through the ego. And okay, it's a good step forward because we got the heart involved, right?
Right.
Next step is we begin to recognize that there's always going to be lack and fear and anger and those things when we operate from that point of view that is egoic or believes in separation. And it'll be an endless journey of conflict. Throughout the whole life, there'll be another battle to fight. And that the path of realization, the path of self-ascension, involves the recognition of the truth of this, and then the surrender to unconditional love. And in the surrender to unconditional love, we release the judgment.
Ooh, breathe that in.
That would feed the anger and fire up the ego. surrender, unconditional love, release judgment, be in union.
See, that's the yoga of self-ascension. That's the ever-refining spiral. And what happens is that premise, that experience, becomes the peace, the love, and the joy.
Yes.
And we are in a moment right now where the antithesis of this is trying to pull in every ounce of every light being possible because of what I was showing you earlier, this constriction moment that we're at. That's what's happening. So the more that we breathe, the more that we say yes, that tension that's been coming together and saying, hey, don't know how much longer I can hold this, right? Help me relax it back out again. It's about the restoration of the harmony. And it begins with your own divine harmony, the emanation of your own field of light, of energy. The more robust you are with your light, you do realize the more protected you are. It's when we're just a little bit open that we have the most interference, because we're still just a little bit open. There, boy, we're a lot of bit in fear and doubt. And it's fear and doubt that hold open the opportunity for us to actually self-sabotage ourselves through the energy that would come forward and try to do that. Yeah. This is a moment of awareness. From whence you are becoming aware is the moment at hand, and to lift into it. All right, you seem antsy. Let's go.
No, I'm flowing please. With you. I'm flowing with you. The moment of awareness that you're talking about reminds me so much of the spiritual traps that the games we play with ourselves, and that includes denial. Denying that which we have felt might be true because it doesn't fit in with maintaining the stability of the status quo, no matter how painful that status quo might be. So denial is one of the first tools that the ego will use to dismiss anybody and any energy.
Well, and this is where the game within the game dogma is really in this week, because remember, in the fluidity of the dogma, in the game that is within the game right now is that it's at root core experiences. And so the game within the game of the dogma is going to be exactly what you're just talking about. And that's why I wanted to say that.
Well, and let's look just a little deeper.
Yeah.
So denial is a protective mechanism used by the ego to dismiss anything that might not conform to the inner status quo that it's got a handle on.
Yeah.
What is expansion? We're all talking about, I'm lifting, I'm on my path of ascension, I'm expanding. Do you think the ego feels comfy with that? No. And so it doesn't matter how far along, so to speak, you are, there will always be some tension between the path of expansion and the path of the egoic wanting to get a grip on things, wanting to employ denial.
The tantrum, and denial is the biggest one ever, because it feeds projection, it feeds righteousness, it feeds justice. It's the antithesis of I'd rather be happy than right. It's actually I would rather be right at all costs.
Righteousness, or being right, is one of the fundamental positions of the egoic reality.
Right.
Really fun for debate team. Really
it'll get you an
really
A.
fun, and if you have something to sell. But on
You're a politician.
But on the path of expansion, on the path of spiritual evolution, it'll get in the way, and you'll start bumping up into it and realize you're not as happy with that anymore.
Because you're not happy with you.
Because denial is one of the ways we interfere with our growth.
We lie to ourselves more than anyone else.
Interference is kind of a general word that describes the various things, energies represented by people or forces that can pull us from our path or impede our surrender. Interference, a classic one, is engaging in victim energy.
Victim triangle.
It's a way of interfering with your expansion.
Oh, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
it's
I'm going to put it up one more time while you're talking about it, because remember, guys, Pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. I know we're a broken record because this is it. Groupthink, density consciousness, victim, rescuer, abuser. That's the cycle.
Victim, rescuer, abuser is one of the playbooks of density that is widely used.
I think it's the ultimate interference.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because it takes you from your power, your true power, and your true willingness to accept that which is. And one of the things about this that I want to really stress today is there's the outer game and the inner game.
Absolutely.
So the outer game is believing that something has power over you. Now, there will be lots of arguments that come up. It says, but they sprayed the sky with the chemicals. This happened or that happened.
That all is true. We're not negating any of that.
Those are physical facts.
Right? That's of density.
They are not your definition, nor are you a victim.
Write that down.
They are simply, poison is in the air. Now, what do I choose? How shall I be with that? How do I take good care of my body? What do I need to do? And if what you need to do might include voting in an election because you want to have that, you can do that. There's so many choices. There might be that we need to think about where we're living and what we're doing. There's a myriad of things to do. However, to feel victimized and then to go out and use anger as your fuel will
to
lock
become
you
the
in.
Abuser.
You'll become an abuser at that point. It locks you in.
Yeah.
So that's the number one. But the way we interfere with ourselves, let go of the victim thing for a second. When we take a position, a point of view that energizes a dogma or a conspiracy theory or a point of view that seeks to give us gain.
Any ism.
Yes, whether the gain is philosophical, emotional, or financial, we are now interfering with ourselves.
Breathe that one in, because that's where that naked authenticity comes in as well. You can't get beyond the interference until you're ready to look at yourself with love.
Yeah.
With love, remember, releasing judgment.
So the most general way of saying this is interference is anything that impedes the expansion of love.
Right?
Interference is anything that impedes the expansion of love. And we live in this wonderful world where there's so many mirrors. Are we not loving ourselves enough? Are we in the inner game? Are we interfering with our own growth and beauty and joy because we're holding righteousness toward ourselves and self-judgment and shoulda, coulda, woulda? Are others offering that energy into the outer world and we're drinking at that juice bar with them? We're allowing ourselves to play the victim game, to be interfered with.
Yes.
Or do you walk right by that juice bar and go to the ascended juice bar where we're in the mentor mode, we're in the healer mode, we're in the teacher mode as we interact with others, and we are not caught or velcroed by those things. So interference is a part and parcel of the Earth School learning. And
the gift of interference is being able to really be at the moment of naked authenticity when you can see it for what it is. Interference. It doesn't negate the experience. It offers you a moment of mastery around it. And how you move forward from that is when the real mastery comes forward, does it not? As long as we are carrying bodies of form, there will always be, however rarefied, a moment of body and form experience. Until this body of form is transcended fully, that's just part of the deal. And how wonderful. That's why we're here. I love that I can smell things, and I love that I can touch things, and that we can connect in so many different ways. And the gift of that is also that no matter what the interference looks like, it won't stop you. And it takes me to today's film. I'm very excited about the film we're going to be showing you today. And I know we have full phone lines. Guys, hold on. Please do not go. We're going to go to you right after the film. But we're very excited about this film because it actually started last week. Now, those of you that were with us last week know that Shri and I, on August 30th, went up to the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful temple at the top of Tosa Blue Mountain. You've all heard about our little raid that we had here by the Ministry of Culture and all the other silly things that happened. And we have been so blessed that through Shri's wisdom, we also did this in Uruguay at Terra Nostra. through Shri's wisdom, we have been putting pyramids up here at Tosa Blue Mountain. And it's very beautiful that as we have been putting up these pyramids, then we've had, like we showed you today, these beautiful, I don't know what they are, I'm just going to say beautiful beings of cosmic support showing up in our pictures.
Yes.
And that the girls, Bria and Aparna, our beloved ones, went up to the pyramids. They also went up to the caves. We're building another new pyramid. So all of this energy has really been quite extraordinary. And we also were blessed that in creating the pyramid over a vortex that Shri knew was there, right around the energy of this whole moon it started on the 30th, and now it's would have gone through last week. We found these beautiful quartz rocks that we're actually building into quartz, and we had no idea. So it was kind of fun.
It's like the rocks here have layers. As
you'll see.
So we're going to try playing this movie in a little different way today.
Okay.
I'm going to pull her right up, and let's see how this goes.
Now we're going to show you the caves at Tosa Blue Mountain and take you on a little journey from the 5th dimension up to the 9th and beyond. And here I'm in the 7th now with the pyramid. And we're gonna walk up to the 9th where I will show you the caves. And this fire that happened is what revealed the 2 caves that I'm about to show you.
Hi, I'm standing here at the site of a new pyramid that we're going to construct. It'll be a place for resting and connection underneath a tall, high aspect ratio pyramid. And as you can see, we were digging out to make a foundation for this area. And one of the rocks that came forward is really beautiful and an example of why we call this place Tosa Blue Mountain. The rocks themselves have a kind of a natural pardon me, blue-green coloring. But here's what's fabulous. As you look further, you can start seeing all the embedded quartz that is resonant with the rocks on this mountain. So literally the walls, the foundation of our home, all have this wonderful crystal energy that holds frequency. So as we lift, the entire place lifts with us.
Tosa Blue Mountain has many high-frequency energy sites on the land, and it's been such fun to listen to the land, listen to Gaia, and determine where to locate different structures and meditation areas. This particular site is the entrance to the steps that lead up to the Lost City, and it's a wonderful place for people going up to pause and collect themselves before beginning the ascent, because when one walks up to the ruins of the Lost City, each and every step along the way reveals more information, and the frequency gets higher and higher as we ascend. And for people returning from their visit, this is a wonderful place to pause, sit under the new pyramid, and integrate that which has come forward or that which is about to come forward. The pyramid, we've designed this so that the base of the pyramid is actually going to be about 30 inches above the floor. And the reason for this, many people don't realize that pyramids send their energy both up and down. It's as if there is an invisible pyramid that comes to a point deep within the earth. So the energetics of a pyramid provide an acupuncture-like effect into the earth. We are used to enjoying what we see at the top exposed, but similarly, Mother Earth enjoys the frequency as it flows down into the ley lines and the energy channels of the earth. There will be more to be revealed, and we'll look forward to sharing the completed pyramid with you in about 1 week.
Everybody, we're trying to figure out how to undo what my husband did to show you the video. Honey, baby, I don't know what we did. Hi, coming to you.
We're coming up.
Now we're a video within a video. It's the game within the game. I love it. I love it. I love it. Too funny. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed our sharing. And Bria Rose, thank you once again for an extraordinary edit and put together of the film. She's just become quite a producer. And hey, I do want to thank all of you. You know, as we mentioned in the first part of the show, the work of the Yoga of Self-Ascension, Shri and I have honestly, in our 18 years together, I don't know that we've ever been of more service than we have been right now, literally putting in anywhere from 10 to 18-hour days every day of the week. And as such, really, we need a personal assistant, someone who wants to live down here at Tosa Blue Mountain, at least a 1-year commitment. It would primarily be working with me, but you would be working with both of us, or I should be saying assisting us to serve more people is really what we're looking for. So a lot of you have already responded, and thank you. I have not gotten to any of them yet because they've been putting them all together for me. So if you are interested, if that's something you think you might enjoy and have a reason that you would want to be hanging out with us for a little while, please send your inquiry to learn more to namaste@shriandkira.com. And I just want to thank all of you that have already sent in. You will be hearing from us tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Absolutely. We look forward to growing the work of self-ascension to support more and more
But
people.
we need help.
Yeah, we do need help.
We need help.
And this brings up an important discernment.
Oh my gosh, we need help.
Is over the years we've offered many different classes, many different ways of enhancing your journey.
Yeah.
And it's important to recognize that your path is not a destination, it's a method or a means of celebrating your authenticity.
Exactly.
And so each and every one of us has perceptions and needs that may be different at different stages along the way, at different times in our lives. And so it's very important that we separate the belief in particular judgments or hierarchies, and instead look at the motives and intentions that are sacred around how you approach your life and how you approach those that you trust. Is that we are each spiritual beings having our human experience and making the best choices that we know how to make.
Absolutely. And given our level of consciousness at that time.
And so we encourage you and trust that you are finding your way, and we are here to lend a hand to the best of our ability. So we invite you to check out the home study classroom at ShriandKira.com to learn more about women, wellness, and awakenings, WWA Global.
And Stop the Press's soul sourcing.
That's coming up. Wow.
It is next week, Shri.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, just hold the phone. We got to be talking about soul sourcing, because September is the soul sourcing month. Those of you that have been with us all week, you've been hearing a lot about this. There was a lot even that came in about this in that Insoulment that showed up during the Mastery Gathering on Saturday. We are going to be transcribing it. We do think it's that important.
Yes.
This is the month where you see that spiral. When we give ourselves the gift of working from the essence of a whole soul presence, meaning within ourselves is the depth of the oneness, that peace that literally passeth all understanding. It's that inner smile that says, I am right here, right now. And in the understanding of that, which is when the left brain enters, the unified spirit can be one again. And your creation energy lifts in the middle of September, right in the moment of the birth of that awareness on the frequency energies. When at a moment where that constriction, remember, we will have been halfway through the year. Remember, this is 12 months as one. So think about it. Think about how fast all of this is coming in. What would have been happening in New Year? What would have been happening next April? Next May? Remember, this is going from September to September. Look at what's compressing in right now, that you are going to be awakened with the I do know now, and I can do something about that. That's the empowerment that awaits this month if you stay in the fifth dimensional experience, loving yourself enough to stay in those 4 steps of the yoga of self-ascension. And Shri, I am seeing full phone lines, lots of hands for Shri. I'm seeing over here we have a question for Shri. Do you want to start at BBS?
Well, sure.
All right.
Sure. So I'll tell you what, over at BBS Radio, we have Rosemary from Arizona on line 4, and she's got a question.
And she's a first-time caller. Hey, welcome, sweetheart. Welcome.
Thank you. I love you both so much.
Oh, we love you, honey.
Can you hear?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
How may we serve?
I'm sorry. I'm almost here just being able to talk to you.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please, it's okay.
Okay. I guess my question is probably for both of you. I have a history of heart attacks and many other health issues over the years, and I have recently been tested and retested for numerous things, including heart problems and stroke and things like that. And I keep getting from my own intuition, from my own gut instinct, that it is energetic, because all of my tests have come back positive. I mean, in a good way. You know, my tests have come back where everything is normal.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, why am I still having all these problems? And I keep getting from my guidance that it's an energetic thing, not a physical thing. I would just like to have some clarity on that if possible.
So, Angel, first and foremost, I want you to breathe and feel love and joy. You got through. You know, we're talking right now. And they're saying that part of the reason we are here today right now is for you to just simply really, in quote unquote real time, connect with the energy frequency that you're already wanting and able to carry all the time. Let it, breathe that in and just smile that in, even if it's just for this second. And then we'll let Sri continue, and then I'm going to follow up because you're opening up for a lot of people, honey. This is a mastery moment for you. Yeah. So thank you for being here. Yeah.
Well, no, that's exactly what I was feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That is one of the problems that I can't breathe deep, and I don't know why.
Relax. Just relax. Don't worry about it. Pretend. Just relax.
It's important to practice the breathing in a deliberate way from time to time.
Gentle.
For right now, just relax, and whatever you're doing is good enough. It's important also to remember that your heart is your foundation. You in your younger years, you had many challenges that you had to walk through. And those challenges, create some, let's just say they create some unhappy memories. They create some patterns. They create energetic interferences, but that's their past. Where you are today is about foundationalizing your heart as your center.
Loving yourself more, because I want you to just receive this with a smile, honey. This is really your moment to decide, what are you willing to do to break out of this pattern? Because the energy that's around you has become comfortable with the pattern. And so it's a moment of saying, am I really ready to take that step and or not? And if you're not, to then be good with that, and that will also heal your heart. You are very much in that very, and it is so painful, position of not quite over, but not quite back. And so this is a moment of smiling that your choice is so clear and that you are capable. Whatever choice you make right now, and I know you've already made it, celebrate that you are awake to it. Because this is a new day for you. No matter where you go with it, you honestly have this moment of a new day in front of you, and it's just that easy to say yes to. It really is. So thank you for bringing that reminder to a lot of people.
Thank you for calling. And one more thing I want to share with you. We have a wonderful signal from Spirit called our body symptoms. And when you have heart pain, your body is, and your soul is saying, bring your attention here.
Me.
Bring your attention to your heart. A heart attack means more love, please. More love here at my heart. And I want you to just smile at that simple way of understanding it, because it will not fail you. As you bring more love to yourself, to your own heart chakra, it'll get easier to listen to that guidance that you spoke of, because the guidance is authentic. And we need to love ourselves enough to trust it fully, to take action on it, and damn the torpedoes, I'm moving ahead with the divine.
I love it. Thank you for calling, sweetheart. We love you. Mwah. Namaste. Bye-bye, honey.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Sri, do you want to go over to oneness next, or where are we going?
Sure.
You guide us.
Well, let's
All
take a
right,
peek here.
let's go over here. And, okay. So we have, I don't see any hands, so do you want to take a question from over here?
Well,
or you want to go here?
Well,
let's find what we get.
We're going to do them both.
All right, I love it.
So we're going to start. We have a wireless caller from Concord, California. Let's say hi.
Okay, over at Oneness Talk Radio from Concord, California. Welcome.
Hi, Sri. Hi, Kira. This is Kate.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you for taking my call today.
Our pleasure.
Amazing show on
Thank
so
you.
many levels. And the graphics that I've been following for the last 2 years appear to be culminating. and that is powerful in itself.
Agreed. Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to call in today was because something was said that really piqued my antennas. And that was that in order to reach the fifth dimension, the ninth dimension, and apparently takes so much adjustment to the physical form. I was hoping that maybe you could give me some guidance, because that is kind of new technology to me. I thought that when we ascend emotionally, that was the brass ring, that we have to do it outside of the mind is powerful, and I was hoping you could expand on that.
Well, thank you for asking all the above. Thank you for caring enough to ask. I love that. And Sri, would you like to begin? Or because I can too.
Sure. I mean, you actually have a couple of questions.
Exactly. There's like a lot mixed into one. So we're going to go through it all.
So let me pick up on the mind thing, because that's one of mine.
Yes, it is.
First off, it's important to understand that your mind is both a healer and a helper and an inhibitor of your joy.
How do I mute this right here? We've got a lot of background noise, honey.
Well,
I want to mute your line.
Right,
yeah, if you would. There we go. Okay.
And so you can still hear us, and we're good. The thing I want to share with you about the mind is the mind can serve as a filter as you're making evaluations and looking at things. And that's fine and useful. However, when it comes to knowing who you are, don't ask the mind. When it comes to knowing who you are, don't ask the ego. Instead, we simply be that which we are, and it begins at the heart. We love ourselves enough to trust the energy of who we are rather than seeking definition or guidance about who we are. So that's the one essential thing I want to offer to you today. And then I already kind of forgot the earlier question.
Well, then I'll jump in, and that is that first and foremost, my love, I always defer back to Archangel Zadkiel, right? One of the gifts when we begin the seek of the seeking, when we're asking this type of question, when we're saying yes to ourselves, and then when we talk about ascension, there are as many, I'm going to use the word experiences of ascension as there are thoughts, as there are minds. And Archangel Zadkiel said it so eloquently in our book, Sacred Union, The Journey Home, that all beings' needs will be met. So one of the gifts that I would invite into your experience right now would be the ism of ascension, to let go of the shoulda, woulda, coulda. The pain of the physical body is a direct relationship to the ability of the mind to relax and invite those first, second, and third chakras to kind of take charge, take control. And then the ignition of our ascended heart ignites our divine galactic blueprint, which, to keep open, challenges the mind again. Because the mind is saying, wait a minute, I can deal with this third eye, but what's about this star consciousness? And how about this huge fifth dimensional overlay? Are you leaving me? I'm scared. And so the body starts acting out because it's scared. And then from there, all of those ascension symptoms and other things come in when we ourselves self-impose our own consciousness limitations, until we discover that each one of those, what Tree and I have called ascension, acceleration, energy experiences, is merely a rung on a ladder, that when we break free and see it for what it is, we become at peace with the body to let it do what it must do. Thereby, the pain leaves, the body normalizes, the inspiration expands, and the questions dissolve. And so I think it's fabulous that you brought this forward, and you're in a moment of gazing at your own expansion in September awareness, everything we've been talking about. So thank you for bringing that forward. And I think Shri unmuted you. There you go. So thank you.
Much love, dear.
Thank you so much, you both. I love you guys. I follow you every week.
Oh, we love you
we
too,
love you
sweetheart.
too.
Thank you for getting through. Exciting to be with you today. Many blessings. Namaste. Woo, Shri. All right. Well, I see that we have a unknown wireless caller with 2 hands up for Shri. Questions
right.
for Shri. Let's bring it in.
Let's welcome you in. Hello.
All right. Hey there. Okay.
Hi there, wireless caller.
With 2 hands up. Okay, well, let's go over to the BBS Radio, Shri,
Okay.
where we have someone with a question. We have Mary from Denver. Hey, Mary from Denver
Denver on-
online, too, with a question. Hi.
Hi. I'm thrilled.
So are
I'm just
we.
thrilled to talk with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, you guys, boy, talk about insanity. I can relate to everything that you've been talking about. Here's my question. Please help me. I actually talked with you probably about 2 years ago, asking you about moving from my home in Denver and moving forward. It feels like my soul so wants something new. I just keep vacillating between calling the realtor and letting go. Over and over. I've been doing this for 2-3 years. What is it? I just want to be new. I want to be in a new environment. I feel like I'm complete with the contract and with whatever I did to serve here. Mm-hmm. I've lived here for a long, long time, and it feels in my heart, I just want to move on, and I just can't make the call. I go back and forth.
So I want you to take a breath. I want you to take a breath because the whole time you've been talking, I kid you not, the entire time you have been talking, this huge energy, I mean massive, powerful energy, has been screaming at you and saying, admit what you are afraid of to yourself and take the step. And then this other one's over here screaming, going, what are you afraid of? And this other one's over here going, why are you afraid? It's like you are at a moment right now that has compressed, very much like that graphic I was showing. Yeah. And so you are, right? You are complete. You are ready. Maybe the move looks different than you think it might. Maybe the shift looks different. But my angel, the energy is already happening around you. And this is that moment where you are being given the blessing, and that's why you got through today, I'm sure, but you are being given the blessing of the awareness of September. That if you don't consciously act on this choice, which they say you did already make, then they're going to act on it for you. And that's when it happens in ways that usually aren't as fun as when we're the ones that get to command the experience. So Captain, take charge of your ship. Where do you want to go? And how do you want it to look? And once you're clear on that, all these dominoes are going to fall into place.
All of that has been happening so much, Kira. It's unreal. Like every fear that could come up, every bizarre, weird thing. Thank you so much. I'm down on my knees and thanking you. Hey, you guys, when I saw the video, I'm going to cry when I saw your video of Tosa Blue Mountain. It's like, who wouldn't want to live in a gorgeous place like that?
Right.
In this magnificent community.
Agreed. I pinch myself every day. I really do.
We're very blessed.
We are, and we're here so that you can be too. We are here for each other. So thank you for that affirmation. We feel that in our heart and honor you very deeply. Thank you, Angel.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Much love.
We love you, honey. Bye-bye. Oh, Shri, how's your heart feeling?
Beautiful.
Right?
Beautiful.
So touched, right? Oh my gosh. It is exciting.
It is. And one of the things I just want to revisit is how easy it is to wrestle with a significant decision.
Yeah, right?
To wrestle with something that you know will be life-changing. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to move to another apartment or house. It's another thing when you know the move is significant.
Exactly.
And of course, the saboteurs will stealthily arise within your inner world. The saboteurs of the ego and the fears will seek to have impede the flow, and we get to let them come forward, and we get to work with that and find our strength. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
I sympathize with that.
I do too. Well, hey, let's go over to Oneness Talk Radio.
Okay.
All right, and it looks like we're going to San Mateo. Hi, San Mateo. Namaste. Welcome.
Hi, it's Alice.
Hey, Alice. Namaste.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Namaste. Thank you.
Your voice sounds beautiful.
And you both radiate.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you. How can we serve you?
I'm going for a mini full reading. So much amazingness has been happening in my life. And there are still a couple of challenges that I'm having difficulty kind of facing fully and moving through.
Well, the first thing I want to share with you is to breathe. Even as I literally lost my breath when you stopped talking. I was like, wait a minute, don't pass out. So, honey, breathe. It's like there's this beautiful cosmic mother, and she's got her arms around you, and she's holding you, and she's whispering right behind you, and she's saying, honey, it's all going to be okay. I promise you, it's all going to be okay. And when you forget to love yourself enough, I am right here. Relax into me once more and feel my arms around you. Know that you are forever safe. Know that you will be led and guided as you release the grip of the fear and the doubt. I am here and I have never left you. I have always been with you. And she's saying, my beautiful child, breathe. And so it is.
Thank you so much.
Much love, dear.
Thank you. I love you, Alice. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey. I think we all need a minute.
Let's all take a breath.
I know I need a minute. Grateful for the waterproof mascara, right? Yeah. I think that we're at a moment, God guys, I'm sorry. I think that we're at a moment where that divine feminine, that WWA presence that has come forward is just roaring. And to feel, and I honor Alice for bringing that in for us today, to feel the energy of that divine feminine coming forward and saying, I've got you. In this beautiful moment of awareness, for each of us to know that to me is the wings of protection. Mm-hmm. To see that rising divine feminine. That's what the WWA global movement is all about. It's saying that we are living the work. We don't just talk about it. We just don't sit around and pontificate about it. We don't fantasize about it. We've made a commitment to say yes to ourselves. When we each say yes to each, the one, we are the one again. And I really do, with all my heart, encourage you that one way you can really say yes to that is to continue joining us for Monday Magic. We have Monday Magic starting again on October 5th. And this is a big one. We are going into the Galactic Encyclopedia. It is it is about living the cosmic energy. It is all donation. And again, thank you, because the last series, the other, all the things that we've been doing, Shri and I were given the paper. Dr. Lorena was here yesterday, and she handed us the paper, and we did not realize that this had a little piece on the front page. They made sure people saw this article. So we're going to frame it all up and show it to you.
Yeah.
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 So, and that's you in action, really making a difference.
And what Kira's referring to is the donation of tablets to people who are in isolation with virus issues, the COVID-19 isolations, and are disconnected from their families because no visitors are allowed. There's no screening room. There's no way to connect.
There's nothing.
And when the doctor explained this to us, and we brought this forward to the community, all of us have purchased tablets, like iPads. So
there's nice tablets.
So that people can see their families. And as we all know, when we are connected to our families and love, we heal faster. And it gives us the strength to keep going.
And, Dr. Lorena yesterday was sharing a story with me about a man who was not doing well. And when the iPad, when they brought it to him and got it to his family, that this healed I don't even know how old the wounds were, but there was literally a physical turn in the man's recovery experience. They were sure he wasn't going to recover.
It was like the monitors he was plugged into, all of a sudden his vitals got better.
He literally got better with this healing that happened by having this face-to-face, this ability to be with his family and for them all saying what they wanted to say. Yeah. So you are literally saving lives with your kindness and generosity. And in exchange, we get together as an amazing community every Monday night, starting again October 5th. And also soul sourcing. Get in there. Get to Sri and Kira right now. Register. Just be there. That's also 100% donation.
And I want to speak to that for a moment. Some months ago, we offered a presentation and exploration of twin soul or twin flame.
Remember that one, guys?
And many, many people signed up for this because this is one of those ones that really gets you, is where's my twin soul, my twin flame, how do I identify, and how many of you have gone through unhappy relationships, things that didn't work out. And so all of that speaks to a real universal human condition. Soul sourcing begins there and goes deeper.
Much.
And so the whole understanding of soul groups and twin flames and all of that is an entry point to really going deep consciously and connecting to the energy of you and you in this universe. And
in this moment.
Mm-hmm. And that's coming up. Is it next Wednesday?
The 14th.
The 14th?
No, it's like Monday the 14th and the 21st. Yeah,
14th and 21st. So this is a two-parter. We do have a donation request set up at the website for this. We encourage you to come because this is important. As you gather this information and this wisdom forward into your own life, you will be able to serve yourself and others with greater clarity and truth.
And breathe into that because remember, we're in this September awareness that will determine the October experience. And that's what we want to be breathing into right now, guys, is what is that October experience going to look like? September has us just a little bit like this saying, okay, we're going to swing this one direction, but don't worry, it's going to come back. But for right now, how are we navigating that swing, knowing that balance is being restored, and that's why it's here. So, Sri, who are we going to talk to next?
Well, let's take a peek here.
All right, let's take a peek here. All right.
Well, we can...
we have a hand up right over here in Cleveland. It looks like it is Astaria. Hey, namaste, Astaria, with the hand up. Welcome.
Hello. Hi. There. Welcome.
Namaste. Can you hear an echo?
No, we hear you just fine, sweetheart.
We're fine. Go ahead and share.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Well, first of all, allow me to wish Master Lady Kira again happy birthday early with the timestamp.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's coming up.
Next week.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know.
Dancing.
2 weeks.
Okay, whatever. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Well, I was hoping you could look at something with me that's been kind of bothering me, and I know it's weird to talk about it on the radio show, but I'd love to heal a situation I've had with hemorrhoids from 20 years ago.
Well, breathe that in because a lot of people are dealing with that, and I know Sri has some really good insight for that.
So thank you for your vulnerability.
For sharing, yeah, absolutely.
To share. Our circulatory system goes to every part of our body. And where the blood coagulates is saying, where do I need to bring my spiritual joy and my spiritual truth? So I just want to offer you this paradigm. Blood carries the soul's joy. It circulates to the form. It's that connection from the heart, accepting the oxygenated air, the prana, and then delivering that message to every tissue in the body. And so, as you know, at the bottom of your form is the root chakra, the first chakra of the physical chakra system. And that chakra is about feeling safe in the world and safe to be who you are. To be the being that you took birth to be. And so the blood is giving you that nudging, and if it came in many years ago, then clearly that was a time, if you look back, you're more authentic now than you were then, and a pattern was put in place, and that's what happens. So when we accept Spirit's message saying, it's time for me to love myself fully as I am, my beingness.
More.
Fully love myself, and I bring that love right down to my root, right down to the pelvis where that first chakra is. And to keep breathing that in deliberately and with a sense of surrender, I'm willing to accept myself as I am, and I love myself. That's going to improve the circulation in that area of the body, and it's going to foundationalize your joy in another beautiful, expanded way.
You know, it really is. And the only experience that I'd like to include around that is that you have all these beings who are gazing at you and they are saying, our loved one, why do you keep holding on to that which brings you pain when that which brings you joy is painless? And so it is.
Thank you. I have tears streaming down my face of relief.
We love you.
Thank you for receiving.
We love you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Many blessings.
Namaste.
Yeah. And Shri, we have another person with lots of hands in the air. You want to move on?
Yeah, take a second. I'm just enjoying.
Let's enjoy.
All right. We're going to go to, looks like Grand Rapids, Michigan, and say hello.
Namaste, Grand Rapids. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Great.
I want to offer my love and gratitude. I have a question for Sri. I often feel, I think it's associated with lifting, but it's like with the joy comes a fluttery heart and breathlessness.
Okay.
That's,
Okay, listen, I'm going to mute you for a second, and then I'm going to ask you to talk again. What I heard was that you have a fluttery heart and breathlessness. Is that correct? There was a little breakup in
with joy. No, that when she has joy come in, that when you have joy come in, you get like this breathlessness and fluttery heart, almost like anxiety is what I'm reading. What I'm reading is that your body is misreading a lot of signals right now. That there is this, when I connect with you, honey, even though you were breaking up on the waves, if I can jump in,
Please.
What I was connecting with was that it's like, you are so afraid of being attacked. It's like it's like, I can't take one more thing. God, what if it's like you're afraid to be really in joy. You're afraid to believe it's real. And so your body is receiving it as anxiety because your higher consciousness is saying, we're right here. But there's this piece of you have got one heck of a strong will. There is a piece of you that's just like, I don't know if I can. I'm afraid, gosh, I don't, and they're saying it's all sitting in your heart right now.
Yeah.
As I'm connecting with you, I feel like I have got a knife in my heart and I'm hurting, and it's like, boom, get it gone, right? And this powerful energy of light. And I love how our cat showed up. It's like, get ready to roar. And now I'm feeling what was very much like a physical pain, like a pulsing energy that's saying, as you breathe into your heart more, you will restore with that which is true. It is your time to remember beyond this time and to say yes to all that you have always known. and are ready to own in your heart once more. Your heart is really healing. And right now, I'm just really feeling that as well. So forgive me for jumping in.
No, but that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. So please, my beloved, take that in. It's time to simply relax and trust that it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be connected, and that you are safe.
You know, you are so powerful that nothing can stop you. Nothing except this illusion of doubt. And that your heart is sitting here saying, just let me know what you want me to do and let's do this. It's like everything is screaming yes. And so it is.
Much love, dear.
Thank you. Love it.
You many blessings. Wow. Whew, can you breathe?
Yeah,
I'm still,
yeah.
anybody else feeling that? Because I'm still really kind of feeling that right now. Wow. Okay, Shri, wow.
Well, you know, I want to speak for a moment about the things that trigger us and interfere with our expansion. Because it's not just about what this beloved one was going through, but it reminded me.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, we misinterpret the energization for fear. Oftentimes, the ego fears new energy, and it causes us to be in anxiety. Mm-hmm. Anxiety is a signal that we can't trust, that we're uncertain, right? So it's useful to say, okay, so at what level is that one responding versus my heart saying, in spite of that, I trust myself. Even with this uncomfortable feeling, I am willing to keep going. Even with the fears, I keep going. Even with the doubts, I shall keep going. It's that level of commitment that is the steadfastness that will carry us through.
Well, and commanding the light. You know, what Shri was just demonstrating was when these situations come up, not if.
They happen.
When you're prepared and nakedly authentic enough to go, oh, wait a minute, let me bring this in. And so that's commanding the light rather than being whipsawed by the density.
Yeah, thank you. And so interference is one of the messages of this month. You know, one of the things to be on the lookout for. And I want to offer another little paradox. When we are perhaps engaged in a victim drama, and we're being in the pity party of that, or whatever it might be, or when we're engaged in doubt, if we're able to witness ourselves having that experience of doubting ourselves, if we're able to truly lovingly witness ourselves feeling so sorry for ourselves, whatever it might be, we have then opened up the portal of healing that comes through the upliftment of consciousness. So it's not about denying your human experience, it's about resolving it, coming to completion with the dysfunctional pieces that interfere with your ascension process, interfere with your joy. And I wrote down on the paper all the things that Zadkiel had shared with us some years ago, and this is in an article that you'll find at Shri and Kira about interference. But interference essentially is something that validates stopping.
That's all it does. It's a reason to quit.
If the interference supports the argument that it's too hard, let's not go, let's not do it, let's slow down.
Right, and this is coming in on the heels of that spiritual fatigue or upliftment in consciousness. So think about how like every single thing that could come up is right in the awareness.
And so when we look at whether someone else is presenting an alternative to us, saying, hey, go here, do this, or whether it's our own inner talk,
right.
One of the number one things that interferes with spiritual growth in so many beings is money motivation.
Almost always.
Money is boy, that's an earth school thing, isn't it? And so if we use money to cause us to stop, we're allowing ourselves to be interfered. Or if the person or institution that is, quote unquote, lending us a hand is actually being driven by money motivation, you might want to look deeper. That's the number one. The next one is ego gratification.
That demands naked authenticity, though, to see.
Absolutely. Because the ego, one of the ways to know if it's coming from ego, either on the outside or the inside, is, do I derive a feeling of specialness from this? Does it support a little hierarchy? Lift me up in that way. If it does, then it's feeding the ego rather than opening for your soul. And observe that. Yeah. Notice how those tentacles are interacting with you. The other thing is, does the invitation or the information come with a sense of right or wrong? That this is the right way to do this and to do otherwise is wrong, versus a sense of love.
Well, and remember, right or wrong is activism.
Is activism, exactly. And that brings us to one of the classic spiritual interferences, which is, well, and until I have my burning bush, I'm just going to do it this other way. Right. Until, if God wants it to be different, then show up.
Right, that's I sent you a life raft, I sent you a boat, and you still didn't make it.
And this brings us to one of the most universal things in order to help your discernment. Does the energy expand love?
How do you feel in the presence of it? That's the ultimate experience, isn't it?
Yeah. Versus, does this energy expand righteousness in the sense of justification? I have all these reasons. I may not be doing anything other than have...
Hummingbird, I'm sorry, the hugest hummingbird. Look at him. Do you see him straight? It's one of the big jumbo ones, guys, right outside my studio, right here.
Outside in the favorite tree.
Oh, I'm sorry, but that was just too beautiful of an affirmation of everything you were saying.
Yeah, and the other thing that is, we look at what are the qualities of these interferences, because interference has many faces, so you get to discern what's interfering with you. You get to see, what's the energy behind this face? And anger is a biggie as well. Yeah. When there is a need to change the world, and that can be changing you, and this is wrong, need to change, then that's actually coming from an interference energy rather than the nourishment of love, which will expand, heal, and allow.
Now, you see the dimensional shift too? Fourth dimensional versus fifth dimensional, right? Remember, what gets us into the fifth dimension? That compassion, that self-love. What is fueled by the fourth dimensional condensation? Ego gratification, and a lot of that comes in with the righteousness and the isms. This is why dogma is meant to be fluid. When you realize that, it no longer has a grip on you. You're able to be in the flow and notice that the dogma was just part of what got you to where you are now. Thereby transcending it doesn't come with guilt or shame or doubt or anger or fear. It comes with the beauty of the blessing of the gratitude and the greater expanded presence of that which is, that has sustained that which you are, to be able to ascend into this moment while carrying this body of form in this timeline right now. We can't stress it enough, guys. We're at a big time. This is a massive, massive moment. It's like shouting from the rooftops with joy, popping the champagne bottles, and together we are better. And because of that, everything will try to tear us apart. And I mean everything. And it will come at you from every angle. So how that works is it's just that attack on the one. Yeah. For each one that says, I'm going to go do this, may another one double down, because that's what September's asking us to do.
Well, and take a look at the outer world and all of the turmoil and transitionary energies
game within the game
that are going on. Yeah. And the one thing to remember is that one of the purposes of the density of Earth School is to continually distract you until you say no more.
I mean, distract you in any way possible, and commanding the light, right? Sri again teaching you. How do you command the light? You get to say, you know what? Okay, enough is enough. I'm ready for more.
Even though that may appear to be true, I choose.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be hard. That's one, own that. It really doesn't have to be hard. There always is another way, right? It doesn't have to be hard. When it starts to be, too challenging, there is another way that's being shown before you. Step back and find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's a common theme in our world is about safety.
Yeah.
And where do we find our safety, and how do we know we are safe? And this is why, in many ways, people lean into dogmatic traditions, because
Right.
it gives them all those boundaries and a sense of safety. And okay, that's one way to take a step along the way. Another way people find safety, and if this seems ironic, is they give away their power to another being. Oh, okay.
So we know how transient that safety is,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And what an illusion that is.
And so whether it's in a relationship or a political leader or whatever, is they'll keep me safe. And so now that's the outer world safety. And all of these are teachings to help us find the safety within, the safety
Really?
that comes from the knowingness that I am a divine being in my human experience. And that the human experience does not define me. I am that I am. And I am enjoying form, and I am enjoying my life, and I'm enjoying being of service and spreading the light, not because something's missing, but because it feels good to radiate. And when we come to that place, it all flows. And the whole thing, like the early one on about money will take care of itself. Your needs will be met. Trust the universe. And this is the one thing I wish to impart as we come to a close for today, is to be able to trust that all is truly well, to be able to trust that you yourself are on your path, and that everything that happens is there for your expansion.
We love you dearly, and we're continuing this conversation Tuesday night on Soul Mirrors. We hope you'll join us. May your heart know that all is truly well.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining us at Shri and Kira Live. To have your questions answered, send us an email to guest@shriandkiraradio.com and check out more information at shriandkira.com. See you next week. Namaste.